Hello and welcome back to the channel. So I've been meaning to get this guy on film for some time. It's Todd McFarlane's release of John Wick. Now I've got all the film in my collection. John Wick Chapter 1, John Wick Chapter 2, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Parabellum means in order to have peace you must have war. And John Wick Chapter 4. I haven't got Ballerina, a John Wick story, but I will catch up for it. But I will show you the first film that I've got on DVD. I thought I'd stick that in there. And then we'll come down to the figure itself. Now that figure came with those two pistols. But there's a gold label release in which he comes with a few other weapons. But because I've got 2 packets of the accessory weapons pack by Todd McFarlane, you're going to see him posed out with some of these weapons here. So let's kick it off with the first pose. So this is the first one then. Coming in close, it's that shotgun. And I've got another one of those, and that's been posed out with my Lobo character by Todd McFarlane. And I believe Lobo is going to be played by Jason Momoa at some point. But there he is with the shotgun. And I quite like that, but the way you put his hand there, he's got very narrow trigger fingers and the gun's quite thick, so it can be fiddly. But once you get it there, the overall effect's not bad. So let's go on to the next one. So this is your next one. I've kept the shotgun in his hand and I've put in that little Uzi, if that's what it's called. But what I try and do, like I said before, is create movement in my figures. And if you watch the film, he gets into all these dynamic positions as he's going on his killing spree. So I'm going to go on to your next one and see what we can do there. So there he is with 2 different weapons. The Kalashnikov, as you can see there, and that weapon, that bladed weapon, is actually from my Bloodsport figure, Todd McFarlane's release. Bloodsport was in Suicide Squad 2 and was played by the actor Idris Elba, or Sir Idris Elba, who's been knighted for his work on knife crime, ironically enough. So I like that dynamic. And he always looks good with any weapon, this figure. So let's give you the next one. He's kept the Kalashnikov in his hand. I just wanted to see what he was like gripping it with both hands. I like that dynamic. The likeness for Keanu Reeves is there, but I know there are so many versions of this figure in art, so toys, but I'm a Todd McFarlane's guy, and I think you get a lot of toy for your money. And as I've often said, this figure came out for around 25 quid, but I know I got him for about 15. So that's your next pose, and let's change it up a little bit. Another fiddly one, but it does look good once you get it sorted. And that's a weapon I've seen on other figures on the YouTube. Figures like Deathstroke and Lobo and even Spawn. And I've got a couple of Spawn figures. Not my favourite pose, but this is just an idea of what you can do with your figures rather than them just standing there on a shelf not doing very much. So let's keep that weapon and try and introduce something else. Here's your next one, and it's that weapon there. And I did have that weapon with my Spawn figure. I had 2 of them, so in both hands that Spawn figure looks good, but I do like that effect, that dynamic. I'm still trying to create movement with the figure, as though he's on the move, as he's killing people. Not bad. Not my best, but I think you get the general idea. Had to put the Bloodsport weapon back in his hand just to see what that looked like. Just my curiosity. But I've changed the weapon that he had in his left hand into the right hand. Again, there's a little bit of movement with the figure to create the right dynamic. So let's move it on. Don't mind this dynamic, keeping it simple. I put the pistol back in his hand. I tend to like seeing him in the film with his just pistols. When he's run out using the heavy firearms, he just gets right back on it with the pistol, close up and personal. But I like that kind of dynamic. Sometimes it's better just to keep it simple. And I think, if I remember rightly, I had him like this in my display. I'm going to take that pistol away and show you him just holding the automatic rifle. So there he is, holding the automatic rifle. And sometimes you don't have the head facing towards you. He's looking down at something, which I have seen in the film. But I think when I've posed him with this weapon, I kind of thought it was okay. But over the time I've had the figure and I've got him into various poses with this weapon, I've come to like this weapon more than any other, apart from the two pistols. So yeah, not a bad effect there, or dynamic. I'm going to stay with this weapon and see if I can get him on one knee. I can get him on one knee, but I wanted to show this profile because I have seen that kind of shape of body when he's running along, crouching down low, taking the kill shot. So I thought I'd get that on first. So yeah, let's get him on one knee then. So yeah, he's on the one knee. Could be a better pose, but I just want to get it in the ballpark. And what I might do is keep that weapon and put him on two knees. See if that works. So let's try that. Yeah, and it does. Because he's double jointed in on the elbows and on the knees. Hasn't got much mobility, but I'm getting the look that I think he's got when he's on full kill mode. And I do like that. I'm going to keep him on two knees and get him holding that rifle with one hand and get another weapon in, see what that looks like. Okay, let's go to the next one. So yeah, this is not bad. Trouble with the pistol hand, it's not really a trigger hand, so you're going to kind of squeeze the weapon into there. But again, it's got the desired effect. I do like that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Well, I've never actually seen the character in the film with this particular weapon, which is the bazooka. But I can imagine that if one was close to hand, he would use it. And I do like that look. And it's pretty certain when this filming is over with, I might leave him this way. Well, I'll leave him with this weapon, but probably in a different pose. So I'm going to try a few things with this weapon, with different poses, and see how that comes across. So stay tuned. I'm not sure how I feel about this pose. I do like kind of the dynamic, but I don't know, it might be slightly off, I'm not sure. Maybe it's the way his legs are, it looks a bit uncomfortable in that position, but I can imagine, I know he does have a martial arts background, he can get into these weird leg positions. I do pay attention to these things when I watch the film, and maybe that's possible, but it doesn't look anatomically correct. But I thought I'd try it. Let's try it again. Yeah, I was fiddling about with him, and I thought, you know what, I'm making it too complicated for myself. So I just brought him onto 2 knees again. Just give you different angles. That's not the best angle, but that seems better. I might try and manipulate the head a bit, see if it can tilt in towards the weapon, so as if to say he's trying to aim at something. Might not work, we'll give it a go. Not sure. Did it work? Doesn't seem like it from that angle. Maybe more from that angle. Might tilt the weapon. Let's try that. Yeah, I tried to aim the weapon up, and I know I can get there, but I didn't want to faff around with it too much, so I just pushed it down. You get more of his face. I think that's one of those poses where he's considering the target, he's looking at it before he takes aim, but it's not a bad effect. I do like that face sculpt. It's not exactly like Keanu Reeves, but we know who it is, and with those weapons it kind of lifts the toys kind of qualities, I think. But there you go. I might just see if he can hold on to that weapon and then put another one in his hand. Right, not too bad. I'm going to keep this pose actually and put different weapons in that hand, see how those look. So that's the first one. That's the second one. Not sure if I like it really. Let's go on to another one. Undecided. He does handle big weapons well, and you see that in the film, but not sure if this is the right look for him. Let's try another one. Probably a little bit better. Trouble with that hand there, it's not a trigger hand, so it's a bit of a fiddly diddly one to get him to hold that weapon, but it's possible. Okay, let's try probably one more, see what happens. He always looks good with a Kalashnikov, but again it's the same issue with that hand, it's not a trigger hand. That doesn't look bad square on. I'm going to slowly bring this whole bit of footage to an end and find a final pose for him. But let's see what we can come up with next. Quite like this, square on like this. I actually like the way his legs look there. Like I said, double knee joints. He's quite flexible in the hips and in the waist rotation. Then you can see the elbows, double net elbow joints. You can get these weapon poses. But I do like that look. And I do like to pose my figures on one knee. One, it's more stable and you don't have to worry about them falling over. But I also do make sure whatever pose I put them in, I do the tap around the feet test. And I do that for a minute, and if they don't wobble or topple over, they're going to stay there. But I might get them in this pose and leave them like this, but I'm going to see what I can come up with next. Right, let's see what we can do next. I've kind of come back to this pose again. Thought I'd take him off the foot stands and pulled his legs closer together so he's not going to topple over. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this pose back into display, but sometimes, I keep saying this, keeping it simple is often the best. But I'm also trying to imagine when I'm walking around my home how figures are going to look from different angles. I'm a bit deep like that, but I think I'm going to try and come up with one pose to put them back in the display with. So I'm going to pause it again. So this is one of the poses I'm considering leaving them in. It's definitely overall going to be the pose, but whether or not I'm going to keep that pistol in his hand, I don't know. It's not a gripping or trigger hand for a pistol. But I'm going to try one more and have a look at that, see what that's like, and then make my mind up. So I put Bloodsport's katana or blade weapon in his hand, and it was a bugger. Now I can do it, but what I've decided to do, because I've sometimes do this, is I've deliberately shown you on camera what I've done. If you come in close, if you stick a bit of blue tack with the weapon, it will stay there. I've deliberately shown it to you because after I finish filming, that will be hidden away so you wouldn't be able to tell. But I do like that overall effect with the bazooka and the blade. So that's probably what I'm going to do. So I do hope you've enjoyed watching the channel. It's all about posing the figures for me. I call this the posing channel. Good to have this guy finally on film. If they do any more John Wick films, I will definitely get them. I've got all the rest except for Ballerina, a John Wick story, but I will be picking that up soon. It takes me a while to get to buy things because I'm quite busy, and then I'll have a big sit-down fest of John Wick films. John Wick played by Keanu Reeves, a.k.a. Baba Yaga. And I would say on that note, I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching the channel. I'll see you again soon.